Testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2. Okay, cool. Hello, hello, hello. Are you guys hearing me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. We're trying something a little bit different today. We're going to see if we can live stream into our Zoom account and then that way our YouTube account and then actually be able to get you this recording quicker and faster.
Mhm.
So let's see. I got a delay. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, let's see. You hear me twice, right? No, you only hear me once? Oh, okay. I'm on a delay. All right. Let me see if I do this, what happens. Do, 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 do. All right, how about now? You can hear me okay? Great. We got a couple people coming in. All right, so hopefully you had a great week. I do apologize. That travel was great, but I didn't get to, everything done that I wanted to. We are live through our YouTube channel, which allows me to record at the same time, be in there, and then actually send you the video a lot quicker. So hopefully this really helps out. And so as long as you don't hear a delay or you don't hear a echo, we're good. All right. So can I get a couple people to help me out? Devin and Michael, can you just say something on the mic? I just want to see how it comes across to everybody else. And Nikki and Ann and Chrissy, could you just let us know how you hear Michael and Devin?
Hello.
Yeah, Devin.
You hear him good? Okay, great.
I hear him. It's something though that's weird.
Tell me what you mean with something weird, because I'm not sure what you mean.
Kind of like, you know, when you're on your cell phone and it goes out a little bit.
Okay. Is the sound dropping?
Yes. And then it come right back.
Yes. Can you still hear me though?
Yes.
Okay. I think, is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. What I think is the computer and the laptop, there was two microphones kind of competing. I think that might be it. All right, and let me make sure I admit them into the room. Sierra. Okay, cool. All right, and because it is recording into the Zoom, into the YouTube, it's on a delay anyway, so it should, we'll see how that works. But Sierra, come on the mic real quick so I can see that I can hear you, because I see you here twice. Yeah, I guess you're on the phone and the laptop.
My computer is crashing currently, so I joined really quick on my phone so
Okay.
I could listen while I'm rebooting my computer.
Cool. All right, so I think we're good to go. Let me go ahead and share the screen and let's see if this takes care of business here for us. Let me get this out the way right quick. All right, hold on. Get that out the way. Floating deal here. And bam. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So you just see the presentation only and not a whole bunch of other stuff, right?
Right.
Awesome. All right, so let's pick up where we left off. And one of the things we talked about was composition. And one of the details of that composition was the rule of thirds. So who wants to tell me what the rule of thirds is tonight? What does it do? How does it help you? What is it about? Anybody? Just unmute and talk.
Isn't it like a certain object or a certain thing and it's not directly in the center of the photo?
Okay, pretty close, Devin. So you are taking the area that you're actually photographing and you're breaking it up into this grid. This grid is 9 areas, just like tic-tac-toe. But what it does is it helps your subject not sit flat. Now, what I said last week is you can break these rules. So they're not hard and fast rules, but what they are there rules that make photography a little bit more dynamic. Think about the news, right? If you were watching the news and you had the person like sitting in the bottom third with their head just over the edge, it would kind of look kind of weird. The other thing is when people are looking into a certain direction, usually unless it's cinematic or there's real purpose to it, you want to give them space to look. In this case, you have the kid sitting here with his jetpack on, right? And he's looking into the future, Buzz Lightyear idea. He's going into the future. When I shared this cup, the cup is basically, you took an object, you put it in one place, and you use those rule of thirds that you break up the area into 3 sections vertically and horizontally. And what people have said, or what photography states, is that when you put your subject in any one of these 4 quadrants, along with these areas of the 3 different dimensions, you have a more interesting shot. Now, again, you could take a photo and put somebody all the way up in the top third quarter and then, with no composition at all, and it still be interesting to most people. But the rule is you break it up into the rule of thirds, and then you go from there. If I was looking here, another thing is focal point, because rule of thirds helps the people looking at the photo get an idea what is actually the focal point. Where am I supposed to be looking? What am I supposed to be looking for? What am I supposed to be looking at? And if you remember, I showed you a place where a photo where the subject had a number of different things. There were 3 subjects in this particular photo, right? You had this model down in the lower left quadrant. Then you had the actual shed in the upper right quadrant. And it gave this idea of dimension, or some type of, you've actually isolated them into the different quadrants. And then, of course, you also have the background, which is the makeup of the photo. So altogether, there are, a number of different dynamics happening, because you have the foreground, which is everything in front of that model. And then you have the background, everything in back of this shed, right? You got a tree in the back there, you got a barrel or some kind of, it might be those haystacks, and then you have the tree and the road. And it makes for an interesting space when you're saying, hey, look at this photo. You take me on a journey from foreground to the model, past the shed, and out into the horizon there. That, in most cases, is more dynamic than a flat photo like this, where the model is in the middle, flat dab in the middle. Now, nothing wrong with that, but more interesting would be to put that person to the left or to the right and show more of the city, maybe, because maybe the city might become more of the subject. So composition rule says use the rule of thirds, where you take the photo, or you take the area that you're photographing, and you break it up into these particular quadrants, and then you use these 4 in the middle to bring in a more robust shot. I showed you the woman on the train. She's down in the left third, but she's also, her hand and everything is over in this other quarter right there, right? I showed you one where it's a long shot, where this person is like just off center. This is very interesting, and it usually makes for a better photo if the person is just off to the left, just off to the right, but not slab dab in the middle. Now, again, conventional, you can break the rules. Here's a horse, right smack dab in the middle, but it's very interesting because you have the sky, you have the horizon, you have the reflection, you have the water, a lot of cool stuff happening in that photo. Same thing here, you have the sun. The sun is up in the top, and it's not in any of the quadrants, but it makes for a beautiful sunrise or sunset, depending on that. I think that's probably more of a sunset, right? And then, of course, when you look at this water photo, you see the foreground being this beautiful water rocks, river rocks, and then you see the beautiful bridge over the back, and then this dusty looking water in the middle for the horizon. Very unique in its approach. So hopefully when you're taking your photos, this is on your mind. And what I'd like you to do is, when we take the next photos that we're about to share and show, you have made that a direct decision, even with everything else we're going to learn today or go over, which is perspective. Perspective is a way to get very useful, very dynamic, very unique types of shots. It's the, if you ever saw this old movie where it was like Toy Story, right? I mean, not Toy Story, Toy, the toy. It was a guy, he wanted to buy this guy to be a toy for his rich kid and that type of thing, right? But there were scenes in there where the toy itself was bigger than life, right? There is a comedian named Lily Tomlin. Back in the day, she used to do this whole gig where she was playing a doll, but they had to make the chair really large so that she, a woman, regular size, looked like she was a little girl sitting in the chair. Perspective, right? In this case, you see a cup looking like it's coming down onto the person, and you already know that it's a cup and it's coming down. More than likely, it's not really, coming down on the person, but the perspective is how you position yourself, going back to what Nikki talked about, you can position yourself to get a photo, or how you position your subject. And in this case, we position our subject a certain way, so it actually breeds in a really cool photo here, and it makes for a lot of fun. A lot of people like to do this with the Eiffel Tower, right? They'll take their fingers and they'll pinch, and then they'll put the Eiffel Tower in the middle and make it look like they're holding it, or, you know, these other types of things. I was just recently with my foundational leadership group, and we were in DC, and what they wanted to do, we were on the rooftop of the agriculture building, and you could see the Washington Memorial. So what I did was I put my hands out and let them take a photo where it looked like I was holding the Washington Memorial in my hands, right? The other thing is you can get really close-up shots. Like in this case, you have this beautiful sunflower. And what they did was they just made the sunflower, the entire center of it, and the leaves petals, very, very unique. And you can see all the details there, and they blurred out the back, right? And made this for a very unique shot. So when you think about perspective, I want you to think about how can you create something that has this perspective. In this case, some people are out there, but they had a toy Godzilla, and they put the Godzilla down, and then they positioned themselves, and they positioned the camera and the lens so that it looks like they're like, hey, running away from Godzilla. Another real cool one, I've actually been to Egypt and looking at the Sphinx. I know it's pretty big compared to reality. If you go look way, way in the back, you'll see a human sitting up there on the bridge, on the ridge of the desert ridge wall. And then you see this person looking as if they're kissing the Sphinx, right? And so that tells you how different the size is, or perspective. It's when you visually create this idea of something being larger than life, smaller than life, etc. I had someone who had a son who had he had motorcycles, and so she parked a toy motorcycle on one part, and then she parked his motorcycle by the house. But because of how she aligned the items, it looked like two motorcycles sitting in the yard. But the reality is one of them was a toy and the other one was real. But because of how they aligned, it made for a very interesting shot. Here's another one where somebody is out in the field and the other person is pinching their hands above their mouth, and it looks like they're about to eat the person. There was a whole movie like this called Land of the Giants back in the 60s and 70s that allowed that to happen. And they filmed it based on perspective. So they were running from scissors and jumping through, yarn with cats that were 3,000 times the size, that type of thing. And then, of course, you can really have some fun here where they actually just flipped it upside down, right? And made it look like the sneakers or tennis shoes are balloons, okay? Perspective. So what I'm going to be asking you to do tonight is create a perspective type of photo. And it's all based on point of view, right? Mainly you have 4 points of view. The main bird's eye view, that's where most people take their shots, right? That's kind of like the known area that most people are aware of. But if I had a cup and I wanted to really do something different, I might shoot my photo through the handle of the cup. Or I might do something very different. I'm going to go and lay down on the ground and take the photo. Or I was showing my grandson how he could take this really cool photo of these palm trees. So I said, well, why don't you lay down and look up? And he laid down and he looked up, and the lighting was hitting the tree in such a way that it just looks like this beautiful bouquet of light coming from a tree. But he was laying on his back, shooting up to the tree. Really cool thing, right? Then you have where you become the subject. The point of view tends to be the most effective, especially when photographing human subjects, right? Becoming the subject. You just kind of like put yourself in their shoes and then you shoot from that angle. And then, of course, eye level is the most common, right? And then the bug's eye view or the ground view, which I love, because think about if a fly or a gnat or any kind of other animal was taking that photo, from what perspective would they take that photo? All right. So real quick, I want to stop sharing and come out and talk to you. What's your thoughts about perspective? Any questions, any idea? Have you seen some? Have you tried some? What's your thoughts on that?
Have you seen the one where it's the cheese grater and you look at it and it almost looks like that old school Puffy video where they're like hopping around, or not Puffy, who is it? The lady. Anyway, you know where they're on it, but
Missy Elliott.
yes. But when
Yes.
you're actually like focused on it and you figure out what it is, you're like, that's a
Like,
cheese
oh,
grater.
it's a cheese grater, right? But because of how they used it and where they put the film, I mean, where the lens is at makes the difference, right? Create a story, take people on a journey. So right now, what I'm going to ask you to do is go off and create some perspective photos. So now you have rule of thirds, and now you have perspective, and you have 4 views. I want you to think of all 4 views, take 2 photos at least, and create these things, right? I want you to create a photo that perspective is involved, the rule of thirds is maintained, and the view, whether it's bird's eye view, bud's eye view, personal, regular, plain view, whatever you decide. All right. You're going to get 15 minutes. Shouldn't take that long to go and do something, whether it's inside your house or outside. Right now, I would take advantage of the natural light outside if you want to, but you can also do something inside your home. I've had people line up their salt shakers and, things that are in their kitchen and all kinds of stuff, knives on top of the desk. I mean, all kinds of different things. I want you to be creative, have fun with it. I'm gonna give you 20 minutes instead of 15 so you can take advantage and make sure you do that. So who does not understand the assignment? Anybody have a question about the assignment? Excellent. All right. So I'm going to pause right here and you guys go for it. And we'll come back in 20 minutes and then let's see what you got. So when we come back, be prepared to share what you have. Everybody okay with that? All right. See you in a little bit.
I don't understand this. Fine. It's not what it does not grab me. It's not what I I just am not sharing it. You're not getting the text. thinking. I didn't read it. I didn't. But I just did not. I'm not interested. Really, I'm just not. A lot of stuff. I'm just not there. It is not that which this plan does not interest me. So. It is not, it really doesn't, it's something that really. Perspective.
All right, so hopefully you've had an opportunity to go off and do this exercise. It is time for us to come back. And so let's see how things are going and in your neck of the woods, right? So let me go back and share. Okay, and let's see here. How many are back? You can go ahead and maybe raise your hand or use a finger, come back on screen. That way I know you're here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All
Would you
right,
mind
and
letting my
since,
computer in so I can actually show my photos instead of my phone?
yes, let me make sure you're in there.
Thank you.
Okay, it should be coming in now. All right, so Sierra, you want to go first? Let's make sure you guys can share your screen. And remember, you're going to go to the little green box down in the bottom and then share out to the different spaces. Okay, you want to try that? All right, it's coming through. I think that looks good. Just can't hear you, Sierra. Check your where your sound is coming from next to your little microphone. Just double check to make sure it's coming through the right place. There you go. Oh, we still can't. I don't hear you. Do you guys hear her?
No.
No, I can hear you, Mike, but I don't hear her or Devin. Sierra, check your microphone. But we still can't hear what you're saying. Let's try this. Maybe she has to come in on her phone. Maybe you're talking on your phone and showing your laptop. Maybe that might work. There you go.
Okay. So I'll talk on my phone for now until I figure this out since I'm up. So I just did the wine bottle with a grapevine looking like it was kind of coming out of it.
Okay.
And then I did kind of a vase with the tree coming out of it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then just did some bowls down a set of stairs.
All right. And so you actually got vanishing lines as well. Very good.
So my biggest problem was getting them both into focus.
Well, we're going to talk about focus, and that's going to be in this next lesson coming up. So you'll be able to see if you can make some changes there. Could you switch your photo again? I want to, yeah, okay, good. I wanted to make sure that we're capturing that. And where's the ones for the stairs? There you go. Cool. All right. So everything came through. So what was your thoughts, or how did you feel about doing this exercise? What's your what did you feel as you were doing this? Is it simple? Is it teaching you something? What are you learning? What's going on?
It's just making me learn to look different places than I had always looked and to kind of set up shots a little bit differently. But
Great.
this one is definitely a little bit more challenging of a thing to do than just trying to do the thirds, trying to, like I said, trying to get kind of both things in focus when you have something in the foreground and the background. I just kept nothing looked like it was focusing, so to me it looked a little bit out of sorts, because like the one with the wine bottle, you know, I kind of had to compromise in the middle, because, you know, in order to get the crispness, you know, when I really focused on the wine bottle and like the label of the wine bottle, these went completely blurry. All of the vines, like they were indistinguishable in the
No
back.
problem.
So that was my
The
challenge, was just playing with how do I get them that it looks like what you're talking about, because something is so far in the foreground and so far in the background.
That's actually a good thing to think about. And what I want everybody to know is that I'm not looking at that as a issue, right? I want to know, did your placement work? Do you have the rule of thirds? Is it a perspective photo, right? This looks like stuff coming out of the bottle. The other one looked like a tree coming out of the vase. Of course, you could still do a lot more with it. One of the issues that you had, Sierra, was the grass in front was automatically trying to focus. And more than likely you have that. And we haven't gone over that stuff yet. So I don't expect that to be right or perfect or anything. But what I do see is that you have it in the within the 4 quarters, you know, right? You got it fairly in a good space when it comes to how you set them up in the quadrants. And you took advantage of something different, right? Let's get a tree to come out of a vase. So thank you, very good. All right, and who wants to go next? After Sierra? All right, I'll just choose someone. So Mike, you were second in, so let's go ahead and let you go for it.
All right. I kind of failed miserably at this one, but I had the same struggle with issues with like focus and lighting, because with the amount of lighting and the aperture that it was trying to choose, it was like trying to take photos at like a 2.8, and anything in that foreground was in focus or vice versa. So I couldn't really get anything in the background of focus as well. But I tried to get I'm struggling to bring it up. 1 second.
There it goes, coming through.
All right. I kept doing this one, but you can still see like the background's still blurry, like it wasn't focusing, there wasn't enough light.
All right, that's okay. We're looking at perspective right now, and we'll talk about all that other stuff in a minute, because you're going to see how you could change that and what impact that's going to have in a moment when we go through the next lesson. We're going to be talking about focus, and we're going to talk about this photographer's triangle, you know, what they call the exposure triangle. So go for it.
Which one? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
No, you go ahead and continue.
Oh, like that's what I was saying. I struggled for like 15 minutes just to get this one because I couldn't get her in focus. So that's all I have.
No problem. That's all you got. Okay, but you did the assignment. And that's what it was, right? Perspective. It looks like somebody's standing in those shoes. Those are some big old shoes, and they're in there. So you got the 4 in the background, but you did a good job in that. Now, what would you say to Mike, anybody, in reference to that photo that would probably make it just a little bit, just add a little bit to it? What's one thing that you saw automatically where the subject was?
In the center.
Yes, I would just offset that just a bit, one way or the other, Mike, because you had the person right in the middle, which is cool, but you probably could come over a little bit to the left or to the right, and it'll just make it a little bit more less flat. Remember, when you have it right in the middle, it's flat, but other people might say it's cool, and so it's really up to you. Remember, art is subjective. Somebody looks at it and goes, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Somebody looks at it and go, "Oh my gosh, what is it?" Right? It's just how it works. All right, let's go. Who wants to go next?
What's happening with my screen?
You're going next, Nikki?
I can't even see you. What happened?
I don't know.
Hold on, I can hear you, but I can't see you, because I was ready to share, but
Well, go all the way down to the bottom where you see your zoom, and you'll see where the zoom is, and you'll open up the window that's, because you probably have multiple windows open, and that's why you can't see me, because something is in front of the window.
Oh, okay, let's see. All right, there's that, and let's see. Well, I had it open. Okay, I messed it up for myself. Hold on.
Mhm.
There we go.
Am I?
Now just you got the thumbnails open, so we just got to open up, like double click and make it larger.
Okay. So I had my husband to hold the spray can.
Okay,
And
I'm just only seeing the
can you see it
the
now?
thumbnail view.
Oh no, that's not working.
So I need you to come out of the share and then share back to the actual one that's large.
Okay.
No.
Uh-oh.
You close the whole thing.
Okay.
So,
That's not working. Go to somebody else. Let me do it again. I
All
had
right.
it open there.
yeah, you gotta. What you want to do, everybody, is when you share, you have to bring up the window that you really want to share, because all that other stuff, if you have other stuff open, it's gonna be in front. You got to minimize it and just only have the one thing you want to share, and then you should be having no problems. Okay. All right, Chrissy, would you like to go first, or Devin? All right, Chrissy's going.
Yes, it's
Okay.
It took forever to get this focused right. So I had the same issue like everybody else did. But
Yeah.
he did it. And my
Oh,
son
that's a
laughed. So
cool.
that was fun.
Was he having fun?
Yes, he was. But at the end, he said, "Can we be done with this?" So
Okay, you must have did it too many times, right?
yes, we did.
They always
Um,
they have a great time getting going, but then they're like, okay, are you done yet, mom or
Yes.
dad or uncle or whatever? All right, good job though, right? You guys can see large foot, somebody going, perspective, really good. All right, thoughts, any thoughts for you in what you were doing and learning anything there?
So when we look at that, is everything supposed to be in focus? I mean,
No, not yet. We're not worried
Okay.
about focus right now.
okay.
We're getting ready to go over focus, and then you'll see what you can do to make sure it's focused. I'm not worried about focus at this point. This is layered information, right? Now we're going to go over focus, but perspective, helping things fit inside the frame, all that stuff is to me, more important right now. And then you can compose the shot with focus and f-stops and ISOs and shutter speeds and all the things we're about to cover for the rest of the main remainder of the evening. Remember, we go to 9 o'clock instead of 8:30, so we have that extra half hour because of the sharing time does take up some time. All right. So, but I'll get back to that, and everybody will see how that focus plays, because I don't even know how your camera's set up right now. And we're going to look at that all together. We're going to see, are we on what mode, what kind of thing we need to do to get it to where we need it to be. Okay. All right. But great job so far. Everybody has done the assignment. That's the main thing. Did you get the assignment accomplished? Okay. Nikki, you
I'll
ready?
try again. I'll
Devin?
try
Okay.
again.
All right. Nikki's about to
Physically.
she's about to break the internet.
No, I'm not. Okay, can you see it now?
Mm-hmm. He's got the spray can in his hand.
And the clouds in the back, they're faint, but they're
Yes,
there.
but he's spraying cloud.
Correct.
He's the cloud master. We got it.
All right. Well, that's it. I have some more, but they didn't.
Okay, you going with this one?
Yes.
We got it. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Because in post-production, you can make the clouds even more, right? You can even add more clouds. So you got it. Only thing I would say is he's way out of frame, right? So maybe bring him into the frame. Remember the thirds, right? 1, 2, 3. He would be somewhere in this section where your mouse is. You see your
Okay.
mouse?
Right,
That's where
right.
his arm would be coming to around about there.
Okay,
Cool. All right.
yes.
Devin, you're up next.
All right. So my creativity, it didn't work. Didn't go as planned. So I
He
did the
says
zoom in.
creativity didn't work. Okay, what
Yeah.
happened?
Well, I had a bowling pin that I got when I was 10 for my birthday, and I had a pencil, and I was going to try and put it in front of it, but it wasn't focusing correct. And I was going to try and make it.
Okay.
The pen was on top of the pencil,
Aha. Okay.
but it didn't
So
go.
you got this really pretty plant.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm telling you, you're gonna be like, wow, yeah, this is the beginning. You got a whole like week and change left. All right. So good, good, good. All right. So let's have you, Miss Ann. You're the last one. Are you gonna go, or are you still working on getting it together over there? You gotta unmute. Miss Ann?
Mute. Can you hear me?
We can. Are you going to share yours?
I have nothing to share today.
Okay.
I'm hoping by next week I will be able.
All right. Excellent. All right. So are you still waiting for someone on that side to help you, or did you need to
I
make
have a
an
daughter.
appointment with me directly so I can
I have a
really...
daughter who is
Okay.
electrical engineer who's worked with video teleconferencing. We are working in the evening. So we're doing it. She's got a Zoom.
All right. I just want to make sure you're not waiting.
I'm
not getting
learning.
the help.
I've today I do have pictures that I could show that I've old one, but I can get a picture in the camera. I can get it in the PC. I'm not quite sure quite how to get it from the PC into the Zoom. And
Okay.
And that will be the next step. And as I say, I have a very competent daughter to help me, and
No problem.
I should be able to share better next week, because I'm very interested in learning more about cameras right now.
Okay. No problem. All right. So thank you very much. So let's go back into the assignment. Next, that's up, and let's see if we can get this going. I hope the share works this time with what I have here, right? So I'm going to move that little thing out the way, and let's see if you're seeing what I'm seeing. All right. So you should see this. And so what this was called was forced perspective. You created this optical illusion, right? Foot coming down on the kid, whatever it may be, somebody standing in boots, that whole thing, right? So again, it's an illusion using the distance of your subject from the actual camera. Now, on your camera, you have a number of different things that we want to also talk about. This next thing is what you mentioned, a couple of you mentioned, and it's focus, right? Most cameras, and you're going to need to look at your camera to find it, right? And so when you look at your camera, you want to find out what mode are you on, right? Now, this is based on everybody currently being on auto. And you might have on program, or you might have an A, whatever it is on your camera, that means that the camera is doing everything. On the back, you should have a display monitor of different information. So when you turn on your camera, what I want you to do is I want you to look inside your viewfinder and see what mode are you on when it comes to focus, right? So you're going to look inside, and if you just barely push your shutter, what happens is your autofocus, if you should be on AF, right? Autofocus. And you're going to see inside these little dots. There are a cluster of dots. There are different kinds of dots. And your job is to see where are the dots. All right. Now, inside you have manual focus, and there are some specific things in reference to how your camera will focus. I like to keep it on autofocus because I sometimes will take action shots and I don't want to have to mess around trying to focus my camera.
That way,
Right. And so autofocus is important. So on the back, you have information and it should be telling you what you have it on. You could also have it on a number of specific deals. One of them is spot. That means usually there's going to be a red dot or some kind of yellow dot or green dot, or it's going to be a dot somewhere in the middle around those frames. And if you look at this this particular screen share, PowerPoint, you'll see that there's a number of different ways that it could be represented, right? And so when you look at it, it's going to look like this. It's got little dots and the focus is right in the middle. That's spot focus, okay? The frame is there and everything, but here it is. It's like a cluster. And when you take the photo, you're going to see that it only lights up and focuses in that one area. So this is saying, hey, I want everything in the middle focus. Don't worry about the depth of field. Don't worry about the foreground, the background, the sides, or anything. I just want everything in the middle to be focused. Now, where is that really important? That's really important when you take in like food shots or portraits. You want what's right inside the frame and in the middle to be in focus. All right. Now, there are some other ones that come along. Again, under the autofocus, you have area focus, right? Single point area mode. That's the AF. That's what you have, is one single space. Then you have what's called dynamic, right? And it looks around into that area and it goes, and it really goes quick. You'll see these little dots kind of blinking off and off, and then they'll set. All right. And when they do that, it's saying, hey, everything in these 9-point area is going to be in focus, right? And then we continue on, and there's multiple layers. You can have 12, 21, 51, all these different sets. But what happens is as you change your wheel on your focus wheel, and some of us have a small little wheel right next to our viewfinder. Some of you may have a small little wheel where you're right below your, above your shutter. You have to find it on your camera, all right? But I definitely want you to do it on the next assignment so you can see the changes that's happening when it comes to focus. All right. And then you'll also see that you can have an area specifically set where it's just that one area. So let's say you're at a particular event, like a horse race, and you know that when the horses get ready to come out the gate, they're coming out quick. Or you're at a race car, drag race place, right? And when that flag goes down, you know that they're about to bust out of there. So you might want to have that area identified as the most important area to make your focus actually happen. But I will tell you, most people will keep it on the area that covers all the middle piece, because that's what they really want to make sure it stays in focus. But I want you to try them all out, all right? Part of your assignment over this next few days is going to be to do a photo, the same exact photo, but use all the modes. Same exact photo, but all the modes. So same subject, same matter, right? But change the focus so you can see the difference in the dynamics of just moving only this little tiny wheel where you focus at, and it's letting the camera make the decision, not you. Now, when you get in full manual mode, you can make that decision, and that wheel is back here, and you'll be making those little minor little adjustments. And it can be very frustrating, but it's very therapeutic too, because you're getting that you're right in there to get the shot that you really, really want to, hone in on. And again, when you have it on auto, as soon as you press down just a little, you can change up your different modes and then decide, okay, this is what I want, and then take the photo. All right. So
Sure.
hopefully this makes sense to you. Again, you're looking inside, you're going to see this little screen on the inside. It's all in there, the little tiny dots. And what you want to do is figure out which one is the best one. But for now, most people are doing the autofocus area where they have the dynamic area in the middle, like 21 or 51, and they pretty much go with that. Now, again, you can rotate it, you can change it, whatever you want, but over this week, I want you to practice it by changing it up and looking on your dials and seeing exactly what it is and how does it change and what does your camera do when you move it around and that type of thing. Okay. But I have mine on autofocus. You also could have it on one shot. And that means you take the shot and then you have to focus. Take the shot and then you have to focus. You can have it also on what's called automatic intimate, and you will be taking a couple of shots and then you focus. And then you can have it on servo, and you see that at like when something's really happening, like a race, and it's like, you don't have time to focus. You're dealing with shutter speeds and things. So you want to be able to let the camera make all those decisions and you just go with the flow. All right. So that's 3 different ways. And there's other ways, but that's how I have mine set up. And so you might want to look at your settings to see exactly what other options you may have. Okay. And then once you do that, you can set your mode and then go from there. I'm going to keep mine on autofocus all, so that I have now on single point, I have it on dynamic. And I like keeping mine on pretty much on dynamic most of the time. Okay. All right. So let me stop right here and see what questions do you have in reference to focus. All right. So I want everybody looking there, looking to, get the camera out. And I want you to find your different modes right now. So go ahead in there, look in there, and see what you got. Okay. Just go ahead and pick a subject, pick a low. Here's what I want you to do: pick something close and pick something far. Right. And then when you go in there, look at where it's at. Like I have a cup, I have a coffee cup right here. So I'm just looking at the rim of the cup. All I'm doing, and I want to focus only on the rim. I don't care about the rest of the cup. I'm really, really focusing on the rim of the cup. And I want the inside rim of the cup. So it will go back and forth and you have to tell it when to stop. It's going to go through those modes on its own. Okay. When you have it on auto, it's looking for what you want it to do, but you got to tell it what to do. And then when remember, you're only pressing your shutter halfway down and it will automatically start doing that. And then you could tell it, okay, good, I got it. And then boom, take the shot. Right. And if you see this, I don't know if you can see that, you can't, but let me see if I could show it to you. Right. So it's too bright. All right. So you can't see it, but I have the rim in front is what I wanted in front. I didn't care about what's in the back. So I just wanted the front of the rim of this coffee cup in focus. And it's looking like I'm looking like like as if I'm doing like this, right in the edge of the cup. Okay. All right. Change positions of the camera, just swoop it around. If you have a window that's open or light coming through the window, pick something and go that way as well. And see what else do you have to do in order to change it, right? You might have to, you have to make an adjustment. All right, I have all the way across my room, I have an outdoor door open and there's light coming in. Then I have a plant on a table and then I have all this other space. So I'm going for my plant all the way across and well, because of my light, I have it on manual. So it's like, hey, it's too dark. Okay, there it goes. All right. So it's automatically making the decision. And you'll hear it go, you know, it's kind of making a decision. And one of the things that you might notice is that if it's dark and you don't have your flash right now, it's going to automatically depend on what mode you have, right? Because if you have it on different modes, it's going to change. I want everybody still on their program mode. Just let the camera make all the decisions right now. Okay. All right. What questions do you have in reference to focus? Are you able to see your different dynamics? Is there anybody having challenge with that? All right. I'm not seeing any hands. I'm thinking everything is good. You can always also just check your display and just double check that bad boy and see if it gives you any other insight or information. All right. Any questions? Because you're going to be taking some more photos, and I want you to make sure this time when you do it, you know how to make that move, right? You know how to change it out. So make sure you're on AF, right? Autofocus. If you have an AF, mine is like on the whole wheel on the back. I just have to hit that one AF, and I could hit it a couple of times, and then it run through those different dynamics, whether it's on servos or which multiples, every other shot, that kind of thing, or one shot at a time, right? So you can make that decision when you get ready to take your next photo.
So
Okay.
I have 4 options when I push the AF. I have one shot AF, one shot, AI focus, and then AI servo.
Right. Artificial intelligence, AI, right? So it's regular focus, one shot focus, and then you have servo focus. Servo is what I was saying earlier. When you're servo is like you're taking multiple shots at one time. Like if you had it on burst mode or multiple mode, it will do that. It's gonna make those decisions very, very quickly. If you have it on one shot, you're making it, the camera is only going to focus one time. So if you try to take 3 shots like right back to back, it may not take the time to focus the next shot. So because you're going to have to reset every time you take the shot.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Sounds good. Okay. So we're good to go. Let me go back into the presentation and share this really big deal that I think really just makes everything clear next. Okay. All right. So we just went off of the power of focus, right? We just went over that, and that's very important, right? You got manual focus mode, shallow depth of field. Now, here's the thing. When you have shallow depth of field, and we didn't go over depth of field yet, but when you have shallow, that means that your photo, you're taking something that's short, is right between, there's not a lot of distance between you and the camera. Large depth of field is like I'm taking something way over there on the other side of my house. I can go through my living room, through the dining room, to the kitchen, because I have an open concept. So I can go all the way over there. Then I'm taking a picture over there. That's long, right? So shallow depth of field focus modes is usually manual, right? Because now you're taking like, who was taking photos? Okay, remember when you were taking photos, I think it was Mike, where you were taking photos of the bees that was in the trees, in the bushes or whatever. That's when you want to use manual focus, okay? That means you're the one twisting the wheel around, making the decisions about what's going on, right? And it's a minute movement, but you're making that decision, okay? Not the camera. Again, you're going to be on manual mode, so that's important. You're going to be looking through your viewfinder. You're going to find whatever it is, and then you're going to barely just touch, again, just barely touch your shutter. And then once you do that, you're ready to take that photo. All right. That's what you want to be able to do. All right, and I'm going to take it back onto program mode. Okay, so what comes after this is what we call the exposure triangle. I'll be sending you this. This is not mine. There's a number of photography companies that will sell it to you, but you can find one of these anywhere on the internet. This right here is what is pretty much everything you need to know about improving your photos. Because what you might be dealing with when you see that it's out of focus might be your f-stop, might be your ISO, could very well be your speed. And don't forget that every time you're taking a photo, your breath, your breathing matters. Your pressure of your finger matters. So locking in your elbow, I want to tell you, I have a grip here. This grip is the better grip. Now, some people like to do this, but to me, that's uncomfortable. There, I can't tell if you're seeing me here. Let me stop there. But here, this is one way people hold their camera. And it's a safe way. What I will tell you is get your lanyard, make sure your lanyard's on, okay? That's very important. The last thing you want to do is have a mirror camera and you drop it and it breaks the mirror, okay? But a lot of people like to do this. This to me is very uncomfortable unless I'm doing something particular and I needed to use my arm or my elbow or in this area to extend to be my tripod, because then I can use it and I can prop it on something and take a photo, right? But other than that, you have this grip on purpose, right? It's there for a reason, right? So that you can really control what you're doing. Now you're using your arms and elbows to create leverage and to lock in, right? Locking in here, locking in there, getting that leverage as far as where your eyeballs are and how far and where. Just make sure it's comfortable. You might like this, and this could be unorthodox, but it works for you. Then go for it. But I would say this grip to me is a lot better. Some people, they like to hold their camera all the way around. It's up to you. It's no right way, wrong way. But I will say, when I hold it around, I use my pinky as a leveler, like on the bottom. I hold on there. And this kind of makes sure I don't drop it or bang it around or whatever, okay? Just preference, no big deal, right? But I have it here because this is more, protected. You usually don't have it where it falls away if this is what you're doing, right? And then when you get it up here, you can use this elbow to lock into your body and use this hand to kind of gird up and secure. And then you look, make sure you keep both eyes open first before you ready to take the shot in case people are over here or something's coming in and it's going to mess up your shot. And then you could take that eye, make that deal, and then take that photo. All right. Everybody good on that? Any questions? All right. So going to this exposure triangle, one of the biggest things is your f-stops. So let's look at the top. Now, remember, f-stops is one of the reasons why most people have trouble with their photos, because they didn't have it on the right amount of light or opening. So when you think about aperture, you think about f-stop. F-stop is basically a fraction, and that's why they call it f-stop, fraction, F, right? Real simple. Fraction of a focal stop. Now you have a full stop opening, and all you're doing is you're giving it a fraction of that opening. The aperture opening of a camera lens, right? That allows the light to come in. I showed you last week how the light comes in and it hits the sensor and all that kind of stuff. And it determines how much is in focus in front of the subject and behind the subject. That's behind the subject and in front of the subject, which is depth of field. Okay, depth of field. So in order for you to be empowered with this aperture idea, just think of pizza or something, right? I like to use pizza, okay? If I got a slice of the pizza, right, I'm gonna have more or less, right? So I'm taking it and I'm going, okay, I need 1/8 of the pizza instead of 1/22 of the pizza, right? So that means I'm taking this one pizza pie and I'm chopping it up into 22 pieces. Which one is bigger, the 22 pieces or the 8 pieces, right? Basic math, right? Bigger aperture or opening, smaller the number, okay? So now this is a chart you can use to kind of get you in the right place. When you start doing photography, like I said before, you might want to have a little booklet. I got a little cheat sheet that I created for myself. And what it allows you to do is write down your general stuff. That way you kind of reset and set quicker. If you're at a wedding, you already know your presets. Now, there are people out here who will sell you presets. And all you got to do is look at their presets and then preset it into your camera, and you're going to be right in the neighborhood. You might have to go one stop up or one stop down. That means one f-stop up, one f-stop down, right? So you're going to be making that decision, okay? But by changing the aperture by one stop or less or more, you're going to increase or decrease the amount of light that factors into these three things, which is your f-stop, which is your aperture, right? So what I showed you is if you look through your hand, make your hand into a little opening, you could look through and you get a little bit, and then you just open up a little bit more. And the more you open up, the more light you get, right? So that's basically what you see here. It's represented by 1/4, and it goes up to 1/16, right? A little tiny hole, and you don't have that much being able to come through. So keep that in perspective. Again, you can have what's called noise or grain, and I'm going to talk about that when I go into the ISO, which is the third part. So first part, f-stop, f1, 4, f2, 2.8, 4, 5.6, and so on and so forth. You got to find out what your focal length is. Some of you have longer numbers. Some of you only have a few numbers. I have this camera right here that has a fixed lens, and it has only a few numbers, like f2, f1.2, f1.4, f4, f8, f16, f22, and that's it. It doesn't have a whole bunch of other middle grounds. So sometimes it's hard for me to use that camera. So I started using this one because I have a lot more range on this particular camera, okay? Now, look again at what's happening with your depth of field. Tiny hole, big depth of field. Tiny hole, big depth of field. Look at those photos or the representation of the icons above it. You will see the person is in total focus. The f-stop is opening big, right? As you go down, you find the sweet spot, 5.6, 4, or 8. If you're right in that sweet spot between f4 and f8, that's usually where most people like to play. Now, again, if you want everything in focus, everything in all the information, you want the foreground, the background, everything together, then of course, this is what you're going to be looking for, a high f-stop, like in this case, f32. And if you look at the little icon, you'll see the person is in focus, the horizon is in focus, and beyond the horizon is in focus, right? And that makes for a really nice photo. Maybe you got an island back there and you got somebody on the beach here and you want to get all of that, right? On the other side of that is I just want a nice portrait shot. Portrait shots are usually in the lower numbers. Why? Because I don't want all this noise behind me. I don't want all that stuff to be in focus, because now again, what am I doing to my viewer? Right? I'm confusing them. They're like, what's important? I can see the face, but what's happening is the face is cool, but there's a camel back here that's also getting my attention. Or there's this other stuff back here, a nice little painting on the wall getting my attention. I don't want all that to be in focus. I want to really get it right down to the nitty-gritty of that person. And this is what we control it with, which is f-stop. The next thing that you do is shutter speed. If you notice, 1/1000, right?
Mhm.
That's quick.
Mhm.
All right. Think about if I was making, I'm going to be my own noisemaker and I'm going to make the shutter. That's 1/1000, right? I get down in 160, I'm like, choo, choo. And then if I get down to 1/2, I'm like, and you can hear it. I want you to right now take your camera and point it wherever you want to point it, but I want you to put it on manual mode, right? On manual mode, that's the little dial, right? You're gonna put it on manual mode, and I want you to find your f-stop. Turn your camera on and get ready to take a photo. And on the back, you should get some information. It'll tell you what your f-stop. I'm on F10, and all I got to do from there is I got to go up or down. I just use my I got a little wheel here, right? And I move over on there. Excuse me. Let me go back. And when I go to that, I'm going to use this to go to where I need to go, right? And it's going to help me prepare for my photo. Now I'm on this mode, and then I also have my, I can set it, right? And now I'm set on 1/4000. So that was high, right? But it's a quick one, right? So take your time, and I want you to listen for the shutter. Did you hear that? Right? Quick. Right? So if I'm taking if I want to take a shot where I need more light, like night shot, like let's say I want to shoot the moon or the stars, I need my shutter to open up as big as possible so I can get as much light as possible, right? So I'm going to probably need to put it on a tripod because I want it to be still. If I use my finger or anything else, guess what? I'm going to blur it. Because the slightest movement, just breathing, is going to move the lens during the shot. And now it becomes blurry. Sometimes it's just you and your breath. So sometimes when you're getting ready to shoot, just hold your breath for a second and then breathe. Okay? And see how that changes things. All right, questions? Questions? Is this making sense?
Yes, sir. I had a quick question, actually. So
Yeah.
you were talking about doing motion blur with the shutter speed the other day?
Yes, you can. I'm going to show you how to do motion blur in a little bit. Wow.
Okay.
But what do you want to know about it?
Well, I was just curious because if you're trying to take like a lot of people do motion blurs of waterfalls. That's like one of the main ones, I guess. If you're doing that and it's midday and there's a ton of light, how do you keep the picture from blowing out if you have like a 3 section or like a 3-second exposure?
So what you're getting ready to do is the next thing that's on this list. So let me show you. So how do I do this, Mike? Well, I really want it to blur. So look at those numbers, right? 1/1000 all the way up to 1/2, down to 1/2. So if I want the water to be moving, guess where I need to be playing? Under that 130, 115, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2. And then to control the light, I got 2 other things that I'm dealing with, right? Is my f-stop open or closed? Look at the top one, right? You see the blur up there?
Yeah.
So if I really wanted to blur, I might be needing to be like a f4, f2.f2. So remember, I'm dialing up a recipe to catch this waterfall. I'm dialing up a recipe so the water looks like it's just mist. So the first 2 things I got in my control right now are those 2. And then my third player is ISO. So the answer to your question, Mike, is dial up this. You're going to be looking at what's my f-stop, because it might be too fast. So it's not allowing the water to slow down. What's my shutter speed? I'm taking the picture too quick. So even though I have the right f-stop, it's not allowing the water to slow down. So I need to slow it down. I got it up to F20, 250, 125. I need to bring it down to the 1/8 and the 1/4. And then if I don't want a lot of grainy stuff behind me, I got to think about my ISO. ISO is an international standard. And when you see it, you'll notice how it plays into a lot of different things. So what you're going to look for, and I got a little button here, and I can just push on it, and it'll tell me what my ISO is currently. And then I just take that same dial that I have that I can go down. In fact, yours might be different, right? You're going to move that dial, and then you're going to change the ISO. If you notice the little icon, if I want it to look smooth, I got to stay somewhere in the 400s, the 600s, the 800s. Down in the 2s and the 1s. I can't be all the way up in the 6,000s and 12 because it's not going to look good. It's going to look grainy and kind of mushy. So what I got to do is I got to figure out my recipe. I also got to think about what time of day am I taking this photo of this water? Do I have clouds? No clouds. Do I have direct sunlight? No sunlight. Do I have shadows? All that kind of stuff comes into play. And I can do as much as I can to control these three things, which is your exposure triangle. And you can almost take any photo you want if you pay attention to these three things. This actually is the whole class right there in that one little slide.
Wow.
Okay, you just got to know what you're looking for. So I was like, hey, I want large depth of field, but I want the motorcycle blurry, right? You ever seen those cool shots? It looks like the front of the motorcycle is stopped, but the back of the motorcycle looks like it's gone, and then the stuff behind it is all kind of like in focus. You can see the people and you can see the flags and all that kind of stuff. That's because they've set this up, right? And that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be taking some photos where you pay attention to not only that, but this thing called ISO, the International Organizational Standard. This is your light sensitivity meter, right? The sensor, which I talked about before, has to be able to decide, do I have too much light or not enough light? And it has this standard that's known all over the world so that people can kind of get the same thing when they want to, right? This is the same photo at the same type of day, only changing one thing, ISO. And look at the dynamic of the light under 100 versus 800. So your assignment is going to be to take photos and pay attention to what happens with that same subject when you change the ISO. So I'm going to want you to do the sunset or sunrise, but you're going to change the ISO and see how dynamic it changes the actual photo. All right. So you're going to get an assignment on all these structures. You're going to get one in reference to focal point, f-stop, aperture. You're going to get one on shutter speed, right? Generally, this is what people look at. They say, well, it looks kind of grainy. It looks kind of mushy. It looks kind of out of focus. Well, check your ISO. That might also be too high. The higher it is, the more what they call noise or imperfections or aberrations that you'll see. Because what's happening, remember I talked to you about pixels when we first started. You have space in between the pixels and it's just too much space. And sometimes the light reflects on one space to the other space and it gives it this ugly little haze. And it's little haze, but when you have 1,000 of them in one place or 1,000,000, then they look very differently. Right now, they're actually, impacting things a little bit different. So low ISO, you could soften the background, make it like nice and easy. High ISO, it's a little harder, right? It looks a little harder, right? So there are other modes that you can have, and when you do, it changes certain things. Because if you're in auto mode, or aperture priority mode, or program mode, or manual mode, you're going to look at those things and make sure you find your ISO. All right. So it is 8 o'clock. We need to take a break. 10-minute break. Actually, we'll come back at 8:15. I'm going to stop and answer any questions first on what we've just covered. And again, a lot of good information, but it's all layered. Each thing affects the other thing. All right. So real quick, any questions? Any concerns? Too much information? Slow it down? What do you need?
I have
yeah, there you go.
sorry, I have a question. When I
Uh-huh.
look through my look through, you know how you have the dots
Mhm.
on it. One of mine is dark. It almost looks like a marker. Do you know what happened? Could have happened.
You said one of them is dark.
Yeah, just one.
That's
of the
probably
dots.
on single focus, single.
Oh, so that's what it does. But
I
I
don't
was
know
gonna
on
say
everybody's a
it
little
looks
bit different.
different.
Some
Okay.
have little red dots. Some people have green dots. Some people have just one or two dots. But when you switch it up, check your mode, move it around on your AF and see. And then
Okay.
on manual mode, check it out and see what it does.
Okay.
And then you'll start noticing it. And now you can pay attention to which one is working best for you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Concerns, thoughts? Good information. Let me get it some thumbs up. Is this all right? You good? You good? All right. Cool. See you back. I have now 8:05. So let's do 8:05. So we get back at 8:15. Is that okay? 10-minute break. See you back in 15. 10. back. Thank you so much for coming back. We are ready to rock and roll. So again, good information. I hope that it's really setting that foundation for you. Some of you already came with a lot of good knowledge of what you're doing, but now you have other things to kind of really set it in and make sure that you now know exactly what it is that you want to do. So the exposure triangle, very, very key piece of information. And again, dial up a recipe. You're inside, you're getting ready to take some photos because now it's dark outside and you want to be inside. Or maybe it's dark outside and you're outside and you really want to get that light in as much as you can. That ISO is going to be your friend, right? That shutter speed is going to be your friend. That how wide you open the aperture is going to be your friend, because you may have to open it wide in all situations. You have to pump up that ISO, open up that shutter speed, and I mean slow down that shutter speed to let it have more time with light, and then open up that that aperture, that f-stop. Those are all important pieces, and you can't just take one and go, ooh, I want to go crazy. But you do have this thing called priority that's already set up inside your camera. And we're going to talk about those modes later. But tonight, I really want to now go back and take some photos, and let's see what you came up with in reference to the things that we just covered, right? F-stop, ISO, depth of field, right? What we said is if I want to get a short depth of field, right? What do I need to do with my f-stop? Anybody remember? I'll put up the chart so you can tell me. And all you got to do is unmute.
You want a more open aperture or f-stop, so a lower f-stop from.
All right. I want a tiny hole, bigger depth of field, right? Longer. I can see everything. So yes, I want a higher number. 32, 24, 36, Omaha. No, just kidding. Right? Low number, big opening. High number, little opening. Keep this in your pocket. I'm going to send this to you in the email. And this way you can have this, print it out, snack it, tab it to something. Maybe you can make this into a small little card that you can keep with yourself. And then you go to something, whatever it may be, you can pay attention to it. Now, again, you can be outside or inside. You're still going to have to take advantage of this triangle. You're still going to need to figure out which one do I need best in order to get what I need, right? I'm at a basketball game and everything's blurry. Well, maybe your shutter speed is too slow. I need to stop action. I need to catch the action, right? So I maybe need to bump it up to 125, 150, 250, 500, thousands, okay? What I need you to do is you're going to practice something tonight or, for next week or whatever, between now and when we meet again, right? And what I want you to do is I want you to go find some water that's moving. Or like Shelly did, she just turned on her faucet in her kitchen. And she turned off some of the lights so you can really see the water flowing. And she took the photo. I've had people that had one of those little bubbling things outside in their garden, and they've taken it and done it. But what I would like you to do is I want you to make water like mist. I want you to use this triangle, have the water moving, and you're going to create a photo that makes the water mist. That means you're going to have to take your time and figure out which one of these f-stops and which one of these shutter speeds and which one of these ISO numbers do I need in order to dial that up. That's going to be one part of your assignment. Your assignment is going to come, it's going to have multiple things that you're needing to do. So let's recap and talk about some things, right? So we talked about the power of focus, and I told you that you have different focus modes that you can use, but the main thing you want to do is you want to look at where is the frame in reference to the focus and just reframe. And the way you do that is you slowly push in on your shutter button and you let the camera tell you what's going on. When you do so, you're going to get all these different options that come up. And all you got to do is decide on which one you want to set it and forget it for right now. All right. Now, later on, you want to do some real cool stuff, you can always change it to manual focus and go for it. I have one little button on the side of my camera, and all I have to do is push that little button, and it's right on the side here, this side, and it tells me I'm on autofocus or manual focus. So I just go from one to next. Now I'm on manual focus, and I can go in there and I'm going to make all the decisions on the adjustments. Now I'm moving my this focus is being done right here manually, right? Because I just took it off and turned it off. So now, again, manual focus is usually used because you're going to be close, right? You're going to be close. So again, I'm going to take that photo of my cup. I'm going to get close to my cup, but then, and you can do it however you see you see fit. But I'm going to take it, and now I'm really going to dial in on the front of. I want the front of the cup to be in focus, and I want the back of it to not be so much in focus. I got a shadow right there, but I can make that move, take that photo. Oh, my battery pack, I forgot about that. My battery's out. I gotta put it on the charger. So yeah, that's what I would do, right? And so here you are now, you're looking at focal stop, right? The aperture. Remember that you want more light, you're gonna have to open it up. Open up the window, right? If you want to get less light, then of course you bring it down. So what I want you to do, it says go outside in the natural light if possible and shoot the entire range of your camera. Do not add lenses, don't anything slick, don't do anything. So what I'm gonna have you do, instead of going outside, I want you to be inside. And what I like you to do is to just go to whatever part of your house, and I want you to go and take the photo of one thing. I want you to set it and then go up and down your range. Okay, you don't have to do every single range. You can go like one in front, maybe two in front, two in the middle, and two at the end. That'll give you 6 shots. All right, but that's what I would like you to do when we go to do our assignment. What I also like you to do is pay attention to your ISO, and I want you to move your ISO all the way down to lowest number. And now I want you to do it in the middle or 1/4 of the way, whatever your numbers are. Some of you have just only 4. Some of you have like 6 or whatever on your camera. You want to find a cool range, all the way low, mid range, and all the way high. All right. I want you to see on the same subject, same lighting, don't change anything. Just set something up and just take it. All right. And again, your camera is going to be on manual mode. So you're going to move this little dial here to the M so that you control what's going on, right? And so when you see that there's nothing there, you're going to be like, why there's no picture? It's dark. That's on purpose because, again, it all depends on what you set it for, right? Whether you set the f-stop up, down, middle, high, low, okay? And then ISO, and then, of course, shutter. So shutter madness. Again, you want to stop action, you got that high number, right? We just saw that in the 1,000, right? Stop action. Now, if you're taking a photo of, say, I'm going to put this back on AF in case I miss. You're taking a photo of, say, some bikers, right? And they're riding by on their bike. You might want to stop the action, but you still want to get blur on the wheels to let people know this thing was moving, right? Or maybe there's a helicopter and you want to take a photo of the helicopter. You already know that if you take it with too fast a speed, it's going to stop the propellers and it just looks like some random propellers and it's just sitting in the air. What makes it for a more interesting shot is that you actually get some blur on the edges, right? Or on the propellers. Shelly who I talked about, she has a really cool photo she took of a hummingbird. And hummingbirds, their wings fly thousands per second. I mean, it's quick. But what she was able to do is she got a really good photo of a close-up of her hummingbird that comes to her window every time, because they feed them forever, for years. So the same one comes back and forth every year. And she caught them. And I mean, the little wings was rolling, right? But you could just see a little flutter, and it was perfect. The eyeball was like perfect, just looking, right? So that's the kind of action you want to have with your shutter. Now, again, the amount of light will affect the quality of the shot. If you don't have enough light, you can have the best shutter speed, but you might not have the right f-stop. So what you'll need to do, bump it up, bump it down, take it down a couple, whatever you need to do to get that light in there so that you can get this photo rolling. Now, less light action stops, more light action goes. So blurriness starts, right? You get the more blurriness. So again, your ISO could be also affecting this blurriness. All three of these things are recipes. And what I like you to do is think about what you want, right? So if we look at these photos, the same area, water smashing up and splashing up against it, but because it was caught at a certain speed, it looks like it just kind of, the water wasn't hardly moving. It just looked like a big old misty, cool, day on the beach. No, you see no violence at all from the waves, right? But in reality, stop action, you see it 1/60th of a second, bam, caught the wave hitting, splashing all over the place, right? So looking at your numbers and your ranges will allow you to practice what your shutter is seeing, and then give your shutter a chance to create something magical by reducing or increasing the number. In this case, we left it open longer, 4 seconds, which gave us this beautiful blur. That's all natural, okay? All natural. And so let me see if there's any questions. All right, so here's your assignment for right now. All I like you to do is your f-stops. You not have to worry about ISO, but I want you to set your ISO at mid-range, probably like 800, somewhere in there, so that the lighting that you have is enough. If for some reason you shoot and you don't see anything in your, when you review, then bump it up one more ISO number and see if that makes a difference, okay? I want you to go somewhere in your house, wherever you want to go, take a few photos, keep in mind perspective, keep in mind composition, keep in mind focus, keep in mind f-stop, keep in mind shutter speed, keep in mind ISO. Those are 6 things that you're paying attention to, okay, for this photo. If you really want to do something, go back to the original photo that you tried and see if you can do something different now based on the information you just received. As a matter of fact, why don't we do that? Duplicate it and see if you get a better option, okay? Everybody good on that? You're gonna have 15 minutes to go do that and come back, and then we're gonna close out for the night. Everybody good? Any questions? Mike, you sure you don't have any questions? All right. Nikki, no questions? You good? You got the assignment? All right. And I can't see you, but I think you got the assignment. Sierra, you good? All right, Chrissy. Okay, I'll see y'all in 15. It is 8:30. See you by 8:45. All right, so we are back, and so we're not going to get everyone in by 9 o'clock. I don't think. We'll see how well you can do it. Sierra, you're the first one in, so I'm going to ask you to go first, and then Nikki, you were the second one in, so you can go second. Okay, so share what you were able to create, and let's talk about it. Mike, you'll go after Nikki.
Okay. Hold on.
Devin, you're going to go after Mike.
So I tried to hold one constant and then mess with something else. So I went, I would change the f-stop consistently. I think I did 4, 5, 8, and 14. And so I would mess with, I think I took the ISO between like 800 and 1000. I don't think I messed with that much. And then I was messing with the shutter speed since it was a little bit darker.
Mm-hmm.
I had some of them that I went fairly long with the shutter speed. You can see that there.
Okay.
And so this was the same long shutter speed, and that I kept adjusting kind of the f-stop and those same, like there's the f4 with that same shutter speed, and then this was f5. So you can see that everything is always still blurry, but the darkness and stuff keeps adjusting depending on, I kind of, one cat got sick of it, so I went to the other cat.
It's so funny how they just like, look, I'm taking enough pictures, leave me alone.
Yeah. So the, adjusting for it, that's the hard part is, I haven't analyzed them yet to see what was the optimum f-stop and shutter speed. I just kind of went through what your kind of assignment, which was, do a couple on one and then hold the constant,
Right.
Adjusting one of the other ones. So you can see, I consistently change the f-stop between those, like there's f4, then like f5, then 8, and then it would go down to like 12. So it, continually got darker, but obviously the same amount of fidelity in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, some of them, just not analyzing it, would come out crisper. So this would, come out crisper, and then you darker, lighter. So just trying to figure that out, and I'll go back and analyze them once I actually, can look at what the numbers were on it. But that's what.
And what I want you to do is you're going to pay attention to exactly like which one you like the most, right? You pick something that's like, okay, I like this one, because this is kind of what I would say I was looking for, right? And then you figure out, okay, the f-stop was this, the ISO was that, the shutter speed was this. What would happen if I made an adjustment here or there? And then in the future, you'll be able to make different adjustments. As far as the blurriness, again, don't worry about that too much, but you might want to make sure your camera is on autofocus, not manual focus.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Great job, Sierra. All right, Nikki, come on.
It's
come on,
terrible.
lady.
No, because I
See how she do me, Mike? You see
no,
how
I'm
she
not
do
trying
me
to be
there?
like that, but I
Chrissy?
with the lights and everything.
Uh-huh. What did
It's
you
been-
get? Did you get anything?
I did get something, yes.
Then let's look at it.
I mean, it's not good.
What you mean? What's not good? This is learning.
You're right, but
Do you know why you called it not good? Do you know what your reasonings is?
it's terrible.
What does that mean? You're terrible. Show me.
Okay, so I took the same subject as I did this the first time and look at the
Okay.
lighting.
Okay.
And that was basically just going right into whatever it was on, and like the ISO and all this stuff was high.
Okay.
And this was without flash, because of course my camera
Yeah,
asked
no
for the
flash. Nobody. We're not taking any
but
flash
see, it
photos.
asked for the flash, so of course I put the
Yeah,
flash
it's gonna
on.
say, because it's
So-
saying it's too dark, but you already know that because you got your stuff down low. Cool.
Right.
All right. What else did you
So
get?
like I went back and it lightened up on here, but of course the other two I used the flash. So it lightened up
Oh,
when I changed the numbers a little bit, but I didn't stay without the flash because
all
it
right.
was
Yeah.
called for it.
No
So
flash.
okay. So I
No
get it now.
flash, because you can't tell what light does if you use a flash, because flash is there to compensate for the light.
Right,
You
right.
won't know
Well,
like what the difference on your different settings, right? You want to learn that first, and
right,
then you can do flash. Your computer is going to tell you you don't have enough light. You already know that. That's why
right,
you have to bring it up and bring it down and all that kind of stuff. Cool.
right. So
All
that's
right.
all.
No problem. Just want to make sure this is class. This is where you're supposed to show whether it's good or bad or indifferent. That way
Right.
you can grow, right? You don't want to
Absolutely.
be in the same place next year with your
Right,
photography. I think you can do better.
right.
All right. So who's next? Is Mike, right? And Chrissy, you're gonna go after Devin. Ah, okay. Okay.
So this is Michael Jordan right here.
Is that Michael Jordan? I
It is
thought it was
Michael
LeBron
Jordan.
James. See, I'm all jacked up. But I guess because he's got the NC on there. Yeah. He's got
Yeah. So I just
Carolina.
started at f2.8, and then I had ISO for part of it on auto, but then as I went through the f-stop ranges, the auto ISO wouldn't even keep up, so I had to slow down shutter speed to get more light.
Okay.
But so this is, I think, 2.8,
Mhm.
and then with the app on the back you can see how out of focus it is, but the figurine is looking pretty sharp. And then
Yeah. Pretty sharp.
f4,
Did you put the apple back there on purpose?
I did, yeah, so you can see
Okay. Okay.
the
Okay.
depth
So
of
she's
field
different.
basically,
Awesome. Mhm.
right? And then so that's, I think this is f4 and that's f8, so it's the background starting to
Mhm.
come into focus a little bit, and then f14 as
Yep.
it's all coming in, like the whole scene's coming into focus at that point. So
Yep. So you can see what the dynamics are just for those little changes, right?
right.
And did you use a flash?
No, I didn't use flash or
Okay,
anything. I just adjusted I slowed down the shutter speed a lot so that it would allow more light in. And then the yeah, ISO for the first two pictures I think was in auto, and then it got to the point where it wouldn't keep up anymore. So that's why I had to slow down shutter speed afterwards.
Okay, cool. And you can do all that in manual where you would change and control the whole camera. But cool. I like how you did that. That was really very good, cool way. You got the depth of field in there. You could see the difference in the grain now of the apple compared to what it was when you first started. And you never lost focus of my man here, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. All right, cool. All right, Devin, what you got? $300? You turkey? What happened? What's going on? You bowled at 300? You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I was mainly focused on the ISO.
Okay.
This was the lowest. Can I? Oh man, I messed up. There we go. This was the lowest one. This
Yep.
was horrible. Came out, and my lighting in my room is bad too. I should have moved to a different room.
That's actually good to learn, right? You see
Yeah.
that you had light in the room,
Yeah.
but you see what the camera found, right?
Yep. And
Just
then
a
I
couple
moved.
little pieces of reflection.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then I went to the highest, and then this was the highest ISO.
Okay. So yeah, in that particular room, your lighting is really low.
Yeah.
But now, what else did you do any more?
No, this is just those two.
This
I
is
was,
it, just those two.
yeah.
And you
Yeah.
did ISO. So
Yeah.
when you decide to change, the other thing that could affect, I'm gonna ask somebody else. What else will affect this for Devin that will actually give him more light? Can't hear you. Yes, you were right. Read
F-stop.
your lips. F-stop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so you could have opened up that aperture more to let more light in, and that probably would have offset that from the ISO, right? So you see how those all reflect and work with each other? All right, cool. And now one other thing that's different, and you guys saw what Mike did, right? Mike made his subject very prominent in the front and gave the camera something to look for in the back. That's how you can really see depth of field, as opposed to putting it like right in a chair next to the wall. You don't have a lot of depth there, so you won't get that same kind of, you won't see that change so easily. So think about that when you're setting up shots to practice these different photos, okay? I'm going to be sending you your assignment in written form. It's going to be like A, B, C, D. It's going to be written out just for that, okay? And it's going to have stuff we already talked about and what we covered today. All right, Chrissy, you're up.
Okay, I did mine in manual. I thought you said to,
Okay.
so sorry.
That's good. Yep.
Share. Can you see it? Oh, there you go. So I left the ISO and 800 for all of them, and I just went through the f-stops.
Okay.
So this is 4. It's not gonna let me click through them. Hold on one second. This one is 5.
Okay.
There is 6.3.
You see how you're losing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is. Is it a plant? Is it maybe a plant? Kind of look like a plant,
Right.
right?
This one's 8. And then 10.
Wow.
So,
Big difference.
yep.
And that's just shooting on the inside, right?
Yep.
So if you're at a party and you're really trying to get a good shot of people, no matter what's going on, the cake, the birthday, whatever it is, the first thing you want to do when you get in there is like shoot some stuff and see what you got. So you can know, wait a minute, my ISO is way low. I need to get that bad boy up. Or let me get this up and open up that aperture, right? That's the recipe that you need in order to make sure that when you hit the shot, you get stuff, right? Because after, you saw that, it almost looked like this kind of black velvet thing. We don't know what that was. And imagine if you went to this party and that's what you came home with, right? And you thought you took all these cool photos and it looked like that. Well, then you'd be disappointed. Okay, well, we got through everything tonight. So very good. Questions, concerns, thoughts?
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, because just on this assignment, I was able to see, even going back to the lighting class that I took in the fall, why my pictures came out dark, and then not being able to really understand it, especially with Mike's, that perspective was there because of the apple. So it made me be able to understand what I couldn't understand before in the lighting class.
Yep. Very good. So you actually were able to build on information that you had in the previous time frame, which is very important, right?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? All right. So anybody have anything to say in reference to the new time? We're good. We're gonna follow that out. All right. I'll send that to Shelly. That everybody's cool. We're on the same page. All is well. All right. Well, having no other questions or comments, look for your email. Today we tried something different with this live. through YouTube, so I should be able to just send you that. And I'm going to edit it because I edit out the breaks, and that way you just get the full info. Everybody cool? All right, well, we'll see you next time, and have fun, right? When you get the assignment, have fun. Water will be a part of it. So you want to have fun. You can use water anywhere in your house or go somewhere. Go down Solomon's Island, find a little creek, whatever you got to do. Okay. All right. Good class, everybody. Really appreciate everybody participating. Thanks so much. Have a good night. I'll stick around for any other questions that maybe you want to just ask me directly, and then I'll shut it down.